It has come to my attention. We have not talked about an alpha male in near a month, so allow me to introduce you to Vincent Fischer, aka Pubes Watson. He gets this name as an homage to the king of alpha males, Mr. Wesley Watson, who, in a very short time, should be in prison. And I've heard rumors that there's a debate right now in the alpha male community who's gonna step up and be the new king of the alpha males. I got my money on the dark horse, Vincent Fischer. He's a 22-year-old young buck from Brickell, Miami, Florida. Because now let's be honest, if you're gonna be the king of the alpha males, you gotta be in Brickell, Miami, Florida. If you're not there, screw you. That's the only place ballers live. Vincent is 22 years old, living, as I said, in Miami, Florida, like all these guys do, and he talked about growing up how he had a difficult life. He was scrawny, he was weak, and other kids picked on him. But I want to point out something that makes this claim a bit suspicious, and if your stuff is suspicious this early, that is not a good sign of what's to come. Vince is 6'5". Now sure, back in high school he might not have been a full 6'5", but what are you, 5'11", 6 feet? You're still gonna be a tall guy even if you're skinny, so people aren't gonna like to go around and pick on you. But he said no. I cannot continue to be skinny, I gotta hit the gym. And he gained roughly 60 pounds of muscle. Now if he did that naturally or he was on the juicy, that's for you to decide. And Vincent saw this as a way to market himself and potentially make money, teaching other people how to go from the skinny, scrawny kid in school to being a buff guy like he is now. But he realized quickly that no, this isn't enough to just do this. I need to launch a full-out coaching business to mentor other people. So he dropped out of school.
Dropped out of high school at 16. I was like, I don't want to take the traditional education route.
I'm one of the biggest critics of formal education, but dropping out of high school is one of the dumbest things you can do because nearly everything in the world requires you to have a high school diploma at a minimum. Now sure, you could go back and get a GED, but just don't drop out, it's free. But Fischer doubled down and said, my only regret is not dropping out sooner. Traditional education is dying. People spend $50,000 to make $50,000 a year and work full time. But hold on, this doesn't add up to what Vincent actually did. He dropped out of high school, not college. You don't pay $50,000 to go to high school. At this point, you couldn't even take on $50,000 of debt because you're a minor. You wouldn't even legally be allowed to do that. Now, obviously, he's dismissing college as a poor investment, and I'm gonna say I agree with Vincent in that sense. Me personally, I went to college, and I found it was a complete waste of my time. But let me know down in the comment section, are you a college person or are you not a college person? But Vincent's critique of the college system is a complete straw man. It doesn't cost $50,000 a year to go to a college unless you're going to some Ivy League school and have no scholarships. When I went to school, it cost $5,500 a semester for in-state tuition, which comes out to about $10,000, $11,000 per year, no scholarships. That's only 20% of what Vincent claims it is. On the other side of the coin, after you graduate from college, making $50,000 is a very low estimate for a college degree holder.
I go to the bank because I need my wire limit raised. I'm like, I've sent too many wires already. I have like 5 other people I need to pay. I'm like, what can I do? They're like, okay, look, Vincent, you have a student checking account. He's like, you processed $600,000 in the last month on a student checking. This isn't gonna work.
Hold up, wait a minute. Something ain't right. Vincent Fischer claimed he dropped out of high school and certainly didn't go to college because he says it's a waste of time. So at what point did he get a student checking account? And I'm not gonna pretend like I know everything about student accounts and banks and how all that works, but I'm pretty certain there's limits and restrictions on student accounts, and sending hundreds of thousands of dollars in wire transfers just ain't gonna cut it. Around 2023, Vincent started to launch his alpha male entrepreneur persona, claiming he helps fitness influencers make bank, and he invites people to DM him the word mentor for coaching. He's still promoting his 6-figure fitness mentorship program, promising to help clients make $10,000 per month as an online coach, usually within a short period around 30 days. 2 things. Number 1, that is the definition of a scam. You promise someone to get big returns quick. It's no different than going online and saying to someone, hey, send us $1,000, we'll flip it into $10,000 in a day or two, just give us your money. It doesn't work that way. There's no magical recipe that you could just put in the oven and it pops money out for you. It takes a long time to build something up. Even if you're starting a business, yeah, there's a lot of money you can make on the back end, but it's not gonna pop up after 1 month. Also, notice that $10,000 number. I will say it in every video I make. That is a scam number. These guys all say $10,000 per month because it's not delusional, but it's also not normal. When you see $10,000, run away. To bolster his image, Vincent frequently touts his success, showing off his Miami penthouse, his multiple supercars, and his beautiful girlfriend. Those are his words. But this stuff all plays into a materialistic materialistic worldview. These people don't own any of the stuff they show you. It's easier than ever to go online and rent an apartment or rent a car. Having a car rental company in that area, that has to be one of the most profitable things you could do. If there's any people out there with a lot of money, listen to me. Go down there, get you a fleet of 10 supercars or sports cars, and just rent them out to these people. You will stay busy 365 days a year, I guarantee it. But before we start calling him out for flexing rented items, let's talk about some of the outlandish things this guy said, because honestly, I've never heard someone say such crazy things.
I just knew if I sat behind a desk my whole life, I'd shoot myself in the head.
He would rather be put to death than work in an office. I would hate working in an office. But the idea that you're gonna go and be put to death over doing that is crazy. Is there a more childish response to have? Nobody's forcing this guy to work in an office.
But it's hard to imagine, right? If you're from Arizona or Ohio or somewhere in the middle of nowhere, is you don't see money, so you don't believe it, right? It seems like something out of your reach.
Where does he think Ohio and Arizona are? They're both large states in the middle of the US. If he'd stayed in school, he probably would have known that, but instead he dropped out. These coaches online actually believe that Miami and Dubai are the only places you can live. If I ever had any money, I would never in my life choose to live in Miami or Dubai. I would want to live a million miles away from all these wannabe celebrities. He took this video from the Palm Jumeirah. It's a set of man-made islands in Dubai. Dubai is a part of the United Arab Emirates, which is ranked 34th nationally in GDP with approximately $536 billion per year. That's the whole of the United Arab Emirates. Guess who's 35th? The state of Arizona. Arizona's literally right behind UAE. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. One thing Vincent says that I do agree with, because I always try to frame these in a genuine, fair way. He talks about how when someone isn't happy in a job, they should quit. And he's right. You should quit if you don't like a job. So if anybody out there is at a job you just hate, just find something else to do. You have way more freedom in your life than people realize. And it might be easier or harder depending on your circumstances. But if you're not happy, look for something else. Because happiness is more important than money. I believe that 7 days out of the week. But if your happiness comes from weed, you're a loser. That's what Vincent Fischer thinks. But oh wait, what is this? Is this Vincent Fischer smoking a hookah while getting a haircut? Oh my goodness, I thought smoking was bad and you shouldn't do it. Oh, of course, it's cool for me, but not for thee, right? If you smoke weed, you're gonna end up in a shack with cockroaches, according to him. I can't play the audio because it's full of copyrighted music, but it's perfectly okay for him to go smoke hookah while getting a haircut. You have no place to talk about anybody else's hobbies, habits, or addictions if you can't even wait till you're done with your barber to smoke hookah. But let's go back to his claim about how smoking weed is for losers. I don't like weed, okay? I don't even like the smell of weed, but if you want to smoke weed, assuming it's legal, that's not a problem. You're not a loser or incompatible with success because you like smoking weed. It only becomes a problem when you start to turn to that thing instead of addressing your emotions, or you start slacking on your responsibilities. If you drink a beer with your friends on Saturday while watching the game, you're not an alcoholic, or you're not a failure. And the idea that someone thinks you're a failure because you want to have a good time, it just makes them look like a loser. But an alpha male would never be complete unless they're gonna flaunt their own appearance.
Vincent Fischer, the best man of the world. Yes, yes.
Vincent Fischer paints himself as the ultimate alpha male. He says, quote, "I'm 6'5", jacked, and a tatted millionaire." He boasts all the stereotypical markers of macho success.
Here's the rug. This rug is actually $10,000. I'm getting exposed to all these things by practicing success.
Fischer loves to claim that you should surround yourself with things that are rich and people who are very successful. And if you do that, those same things are going to come to you. But by that logic, why are there homeless people in San Francisco? They're around millionaires. They're around success. The city is wealthy. So why are there so many homeless people? It's because you can't simply think about or manifest success or money. You have to actively take steps to make it happen. But Fischer gives these examples of being in the Palm Jumeirah in the UAE, or seeing a $10,000 rug, or perhaps the dumbest one.
When I was a little boy, my dad used to take me to the by the airport. We get McDonald's, we park by the airport, and we'd watch private jets take off. Now, my mind thought nothing of it at the time, but my dad was visualizing.
Which absolutely did not happen, but that does nothing. It's just a waste of time to go do that unless you like watching planes. No matter how hard you think about it or how many friends you have who are successful, it does not translate to you unless you put in the work to get there. But now let's talk about the things Vince claims to own that we know he almost certainly does not. Now, if you're a car guy, you know cars are a bad investment. There's some cars out there that are good investments. If you store them, they'll appreciate in value over time. The more you drive a car, the less resale or collectability value it has. Now we'll get into the $3 million penthouse. Brickell is one of the hot spots of property development. People are loving to build new buildings and rent them out. Notice I said rent. It's leases, because check this out. How many people do you think that live in Miami burn out? People come, they spend crazy prices because they want to impress people they don't know and show that they have a lifestyle that they really don't. And they know, like you and I know, half these people down there, they're going to burn out. They're going to run out of money and go broke. And then what's going to happen? They're going to sell an apartment to one of these guys who burns out, and they're not going to get their HOA fees. They're going to have to go through the eviction process to get him out, and the eviction process is long and tedious. But what about his hot ass girlfriend, according to him? She's cute. I'm not going to cap. She's cute, but she's cake-faced. Show her without makeup. Someone called Vincent Fischer out saying, quote, "She's only with you because you're rich, 6'5", and live in a 2-story penthouse and ride around in supercars." Basically calling him out and saying, "Hey, you got a gold digger here, boss." And his response was, quote, "Yeah, jackass, I became the best option. That's the point." So he acknowledges that this girl is just a leech. She's just sitting there and only is with him because of his money, and he doesn't care.
Yo, so welcome to the YouTube video. We're doing a day in the life. Introduce yourself. Tell him your name.
The fact that a guy puts up with this shows that he's not a high-value man in general. But these people don't care, because it's all about impressions and it's all about what they can get right now. But in 10 years, 20 years, when this guy fades off into obscurity, do you think this girl is going to be with him? I'll tell you right now, no.
So I'll say something outlandish. Everybody knows you need to take care of your mom, right? But I'll be like, if you're a full-grown man and you have not retired your mom, that's how I started out. So what does that do? People are like, oh, you know, fuck this guy and this, that, and whatever. And then the rest of the video is like, listen, your mom should be your priority and this, that, and etc. The people that love it and they resonate, they'll follow. The people that hate it will boost the video.
Vincent Fischer outright tells you that he does stuff simply to get attention and go viral. So why would you believe anything this guy says, whether it's his claim that he was bullied growing up or that he's a multi-millionaire living the life of his dreams? Either Vincent's not very bright or he just thinks you're stupid, but either way, the writing is on the wall. He, like all these alpha males, buy into the idea that all publicity is good publicity, but no, it's not. When your personal brand is what makes you money, people's perception of that determines whether you're gonna succeed or fail. That's why figures like Ty Lopez and Dan Lok, despite offering some shady, low-quality courses, have been able to stick around and kick it for over a decade because they put so much effort into maintaining their brand perception. But people like Vincent Fischer are more known by their nickname, Pubes Watson, than their actual name. And whether he wants to admit it or not, that's a bad thing. I also want to touch on something he said, how people who like the message will follow and the haters will simply boost you further. If someone actually likes what Vincent says and sees a bunch of people clowning on him and calling him out for a bunch of stuff, they're going to be much more cautious with trusting anything that guy says. A few days ago, Vincent Fischer slid in my DMs. He wanted to know if I was interested in learning more. Basically, do I want to give him money for his coaching plans? What's interesting about that is Vincent and I had a conversation a couple months ago when I first made this channel because I was trying to get content and I was mass messaging a bunch of alpha males, and Vince ghosted me. So when I saw this message, I'm like, dude, you don't even know who you're messaging. We've already had this conversation and it was on the same account. And I'm thinking, dude, you don't even know what you're doing. You don't care about the person or what they're trying to do. You just care about making money. But for the sake of the video, I said, yeah, I'm interested in learning more. And I was ghosted again. But I will never be denied by Pubes Watson. I went on his website and found some free training thing. I honestly don't remember where I found it now, but I put in my name, email, number, everything. And at 9:30 p.m. on the night I was editing this video, I got a text. And that text was from one of Vincent Fischer's goons. He wants to have a call. Make sure you guys are here next week because I'm going to expose and critique that sales call I had with Vincent Fischer's team. And let me tell you, when I learned about the business model here, pretty sus. But I thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm still working on that Grant Cardone video. I want to make sure everything is good on the legal side for me because he's kind of an eager beaver, likes to sue everybody. But please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you guys next week. But until then, stay safe.